Hello YouTube. Hey, so in this video I wanted to talk a little bit about the rules of the game being changed. And I have noticed over the last few weeks that there seems to be somewhat of a spiritual awakening, or more, even more so, or a heightened awareness of good and evil, and perhaps where the good and the evil comes from. I've noticed that there does seem to be within the ME community, uh, seems to be somewhat of a polarization um, between the your view of God and of Jesus, or your view of not. I guess your view of ascension or whatever. Wow, I just want to say, Miss Pickle, I am so happy for you. I really am. I am so happy to hear that you met Jesus. That's really, really awesome. And I'm so happy for you. And I just want to encourage you to stay strong and let that root go deep. But yeah, I've prayed for you. And hearing you talk in your last few videos, it was a real answer to prayer. And I have to say that I was completely shocked, actually, when I first heard you say that. And it brought the biggest smile to my face, and actually some tears to my eyes, just to hear you say what you were saying. Um, oftentimes, oftentimes some bad things or bad choices or bad circumstances, whatever, but hard times oftentimes do draw us to I think, a real saving knowledge of Jesus Christ. And hey, however you found him, however he found you, I'm stoked for you. And stay strong in that. That's awesome. Photo Helix coming under some attack. But hey, Photo, John, I'm praying for you as well, brother. I want you to know that I appreciate all that you have done. You were probably one of, if not the first people that I heard talk about the Mandela effect, once I started waking up to it. And one of the first people I heard that really made sense to me from a Christian perspective. And stay strong, brother. And thank you for all that you do. Know that my prayers are with you and your family. Um, look if you want. Look if you want. I'm not going to push anything on you, but I like what you have to say, and I pray for you too. I actually pray for several YouTubers on quite a regular basis, because I believe in the power of prayer. I do think it's valuable, and I do think it works. Um, so I'm praying for your struggles as well, brother. And I know you're a brother here in the ME with me, and you've said a lot that makes a lot of sense, a lot more sense than some Christians I hear talking about the Mandela effect. But stay strong. Know that there's someone out here praying for you, and well, if you hear this, you hear it, but I would like to see you one day come to a saving knowledge of Jesus Christ as well. Don't believe necessarily what everybody tells you about him, but really search out the Creator for yourself. And I personally have come to find that a lot of what I was told and taught about God are not necessarily so. Um, but as the years have gone by, he continually proves himself true to me personally in several different ways. Um, but man, good job, Regato Bonner. Praying for you too. I know you're under attack, and I'm praying for you as well, brother. I like what you have to say as well. Very perceptive. You put a lot out there, and I know it's not easy going through the attacks. But you know what? You have a Father in heaven who really does care for you and does care about what we're all going through. So stay strong. As far as the rules of the game changing, um, I'm going to present something that I personally think is an effect. I have run this by someone else, another YouTuber that I respect, and for him this is not an effect, but for me it is, and well, I think it's kind of a game changer. And I'll get into that here. I have Monopoly up here. I will get into Monopoly. But I'm going to go over this one first. I'm kind of not really going how I thought I would here in this video, but it's going nonetheless. And it has to do with the Isaiah 11:6 passage. The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf and the young lion and the fatling together, and a little child shall lead them. Well, this verse for me has changed a second time. And this is one that, I, I mean, it's about as solid as I can get. And I don't have any other confirmation. Like I said, another YouTuber who I respect, who I feel has done some great work, doesn't agree with me about this one, says that it's always when this verse changed, that it was indeed the wolf also shall dwell with the lamb. However, what I remember the change being is the wolf also shall dwell with the sheep. In fact, it was I've looked at this verse in the Bible and online so many times since it changed for me the first time that I became very, very familiar with it. And I mean, I had conversations with people, multiple people about this. Not this secondary change for me, but for me, this was one of the big ones that really kind of shook me. Um, and I looked at it so many times, and I remember talking to people and saying, well, it doesn't even say lamb. It's not even, the lion and the lamb, it's the wolf and the sheep now. And sure enough, even back here on, what is it, April 17th, I uploaded a video here where I'm actually talking about it. And I leave out the word also here, so forgive that. But listen here, I reference the change.
I have come to believe that these changes are significant, um, I guess, warning signs to those that can see them for what they are. You know, the just think about the difference now with the the lion shall lay with the lamb, and the wolf will dwell with the sheep. So the lion shall lay with the lamb corresponds to Revelation and the millennial kingdom.
All right, so I'm not going to continue on with that, but I just wanted to get the point across that even here, as I'm talking about it, I reference the wolf and the sheep. Was the wolf in sheep's clothing? And we still kind of get that with the wolf and the lamb. But now the lamb is actually back in the verse. And I had equated the wolf dwelling with the sheep kind of to pretty much what we're seeing in our churches with these pastors that don't really care to talk about I guess the really big things that are going on. They're content to talk about, constantly joy and all that other stuff. And in fact, I go to a Monday night Bible study, and I don't go to church, but the I still I get the weekly newsletter or whatever from it, and I wasn't gonna do this, but I will just let's see if I can bring this up real quick. Well, let me pause this. All right, so I don't know. I almost feel bad for pointing these people out because I really like a lot of the people there. And anyway, but look, this Sunday we embark on a short but powerful series called Joyride. God called the Shoreline Church into existence 17 years ago and has faithfully carried us along in every step of this joyful journey. Following Jesus together is our mission, and we stay focused on this by helping one another come alive to God's love, be anchored in truth, and activated for a life of purpose. All of this is a complete joy and privilege, and we are simply blessed to be a part of what God is doing among us. Join us this Sunday as we look at what coming alive to God's love is all about, and how His love opens the doors for us to live lives of power, grace, and freedom in Jesus. And anyway, it just, again, it's like, it's a joyride, come alive. And they say be anchored in truth, but a lot of times, that those anchors aren't very deep. You want to get activated for a life of purpose. Well, I can get activated at the those encouragement or whatever you call them, those seminars where they, go rah rah, get everybody all hyped up. Be a part of something bigger. And, it's all about joy and whatever, which a life of Christ is about joy, but everything is about I'm happy, I'm joyful, God is gracious. And there's never anything really about what's going on, like what's really going on. Sometimes they brush a little bit of the surface and maybe touch on a few things, but anyway, so talking about the wolf and the sheep, that's kind of what I was relating this verse to. And then now, it's the wolf shall dwell with the lamb. And that's kind of like the wolf, the wolf dwelling with the lamb is a little different than the sheep. It's almost like, okay, well now we have what? Lucifer side by side with God, with the Lamb of God, with Jesus, the Word made flesh, and we beheld his beauty. Now the wolf is dwelling there, not just dwelling with the sheep, kind of making them feel comfortable and everything. They're comfortable enough. But now the wolf is going to be sharing dominion with the lamb. Now, I suspect a lot of people are going to tell me, no, this verse, when it changed, it's always been the wolf will always, the wolf also shall dwell with the lamb. Well, for me, it was the wolf also shall dwell with the sheep. And it's just recently, in fact, it's been 2 or 3 weeks. I was listening to Vernon McGee, and he said something, I don't know, but I was like, oh, I want to go hear what he has to say about Isaiah 11:6, because for some reason in all this time I haven't ever gone on and listened to what he has to say there on Through the Bible Radio. And now with everything online, you can just go straight to Isaiah and hear Vernon McGee talk about it. And when he said it, I actually thought that, wow, maybe it's like something mid-shift here, and I was like, what is he reading? Because it didn't sound like the original, what I remember, and it didn't sound exactly like the shift, and I was thinking like, whoa, okay, well, I'm going to pull out my Bible here, so I've got just a cheap KJV Bible in my truck that I keep in there, and so I open it up, and it's like, wow, it says the wolf also shall dwell with the lamb. And I was tripping on it, going, wow, so it's changed again. And I've had the conversations, I talk to all kinds of people, religious and non, and I've had plenty of discussions with with religious people about this particular verse. And one of the points that I was bringing up continually about the change was that the verse didn't even say lamb. No, it was the sheep. Of course, now it says lamb again, but it's still wolf. And so after that, I went home after I was done working, and first thing I did was go and try to find some of the older YouTube videos about the change, about this particular change. And sure enough, all the videos now are talking about the wolf and the lamb, and none of them say the wolf and the sheep. So the videos had changed for me, and then, like I said, I hit up this other YouTuber, and he said, no, it's maybe I'm from a third, that third reality. Um, but for me, I mean, this is like as definite of a change as any of the other ones that I'm just like, man, I know for a fact it was this. And anyway, so for me, it was fairly significant, and I was trying to take some time to think about it. And so, round about that time, a couple, 3 weeks ago, I was playing Monopoly with my mom and my daughter and another friend, and somehow it came up about, I don't remember exactly how it came up, but just like everything, the game takes a while, and we had a question about something, and we start looking at the rules, and sure enough, we I was pulled out the rule book for the Monopoly, and reading it, I read a rule that none of us sitting there ever knew about. I mean, granted, the two younger children, they wouldn't have known, but I'm 43 years old. I won't say how old my mom is, but she's older than I am. And neither one of us were aware of this rule, but here's the rule on buying property. Whenever you land on an unowned property, you may buy that property from the bank at its printed price. You receive the title deed card showing ownership. Place it face up in front of you. If you do not wish to buy the property, the banker sells it at auction to the highest bidder. The buyer pays the bank the amount of the bid in cash and receives the title deed card for that property. Any player, including the one who declined the option of buying it at the printed price, may bid. Bidding may start at any price. So I, I was just completely, I have never ever played that. In all my years of playing Monopoly, I've never ever done that, and never ever knew about that rule. Well, then, a few days later, my mom, and I'll just let you know, my mom, she gets annoyed when I talk about this sort of stuff. So she is, I have come to see that my mother can see the changes, but she will not cop to them. In other words, she will see them if I ask about them without telling her what I'm asking about, and she'll, of course, answer me wrong or right, I guess, however you're looking at it. But then when I tell, oh, are you sure about that? Or, is this another one of those things? Or, she'll look it up. And of course, she gets annoyed at me saying that things are actually changing. But then she sent me over this article here. And apparently, we've all just been doing it wrong. 19 things you've been doing completely wrong. And sure enough, the first one is playing Monopoly. Monopoly starts out pretty fun. By the third or fourth hour, though, not even Boardwalk can elicit a thrill. Yeah, and in this picture, we know, too, that you can't have hotels and houses on the same property. Maybe that's another rule change. That's because you're playing it wrong. Every time a player lands on an unowned property and chooses not to buy it, the banker is supposed to start a bidding war between all the other players. Starting a war between the players. That shaves playtime down considerably and might even drain your opponent's coffers enough for you to claim an early win. And so I think also this rule change is another Mandela effect having to do with monopoly. It's not just the guy with the monocle, but no, it's in fact the rules of the game are changing. And I think we're starting to see that. We're seeing that the rules of the game are changing. Uh, I believe it was Fox, one of the Fox affiliates, that just did a expose on the Mandela effect, a small one. I was made aware of that by Photo Helix. And so, yeah, there's two changes that I haven't heard anybody talk about, but for me, I think they're fairly significant. And it seems like with the spiritual climate amongst the ME community, I mean, there's been some other ones, but it's just amazing to me the changes that people have been not only seeing but experiencing in their personal beliefs and in their spirituality and then their relationship with their creator. Um, I do believe that there are many of us out here that see this that are being drawn unto God and unto Jesus. Um, while I have been shaken in a lot of what I thought and believed since becoming fully awake to this phenomenon, I will say that my faith in Jesus Christ has grown stronger, and I've grown closer to Him through this. But I do think that the rules of the game are being changed. And there's two changes here. One was Isaiah 11:6 changed a second time for me, and then these monopoly rules also are a change for me. And honestly, when the very first thing on 19 things I've been doing completely wrong, when it's the very first one on here, it kind of confirms to me that it is an effect, and we're just seeing this, the media, Google, whoever, pushing the new reality. God, you've just been doing it wrong. Never mind that apparently pretty much everybody's doing it wrong here, right? Because 19 things you've been doing